Now move to roll.
You did? You seconded? Oh. President Messick. Here. Vice President Pennell. Here. Treasurer Miller.
Here.
Director of Campus Program Glenn.
She's here.
What? Oh, sorry. We're talking about my injured foot. I'm here.
Secretary Smith is live streaming. Director of Publicity Jones.
Here.
Club Coordinator Chan. Here. Club Coordinator Bear. Student Rep to Alumni Masick. Eyes Rep Ward.
Here.
Student Trustee Hubler. Staff Rep Levetter. Staff Rep Thacker. Senator Swartz.
Here.
Senator Wilson. Senator Belgoin.
Here.
Senator Walsh.
Here.
Senator Pence.
Here.
Senator Benner.
Here.
Senator Norman.
Here.
Senator McKenzie.
Here.
Senator Perillo.
Here.
Senator Shorter. Senator Johnson.
Here.
Senator Lewis. Senator Utz.
Here.
Senator Walker.
Here.
Senator Malaga.
Here.
Senator Henry. Senator Bernstein.
Here.
Senator Shapiro Santos.
Here.
Senator Ortiga Valencia.
Here.
Senator Berry. Senator Mouton.
Here.
President Hernandez.
Here.
President March.
Here.
President Cooper.
Here.
President Lamb.
Here. All right, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda? All right, moving on to student speak out. Are there any students here wishing to speak out today? Oh, yes, Sophia? No, I'm nothing. All right, moving on to Senate training, spring 2019.
Cool.
Take it away.
All right. So, I'm just going to well, I just want to take a look. I'm going to make your space. All right. So, as you can see, we're making a couple changes. But I want to. All right. This is going to be a long presentation. Cece, can you dim the lights a little bit?
Okay, are we filming or no?
Go for it. If Morgan wants to take the notes from Annapolis, this is what you're doing. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you're here. If you're here, it's either because someone has asked you to fill in the spot, or it's because after my impassioned speech that you kind of show up ready to work, you decided to come back, and I appreciate that. We're going to do some retraining tonight, just so everyone is reminded and aware of why we're here, what we're doing, and how we do it. So hold on to your pens. All right, so here's some changes we're going to make. We're going to keep following Robert's Rules of Order as we always have, but now when we speak, we stand. That's in Robert's Rules, that's how it's always been done. We've never enforced it, and I think it will help our conversation more. When we do this, stand, the speaker or chair, the vice president, will recognize you as the next person to speak, then you may speak. If 5 people stand up, she picks the first person who stood, the rest of you sit down and wait your turn. That's how this is going to go. We're going to do assigned seating, as you can tell, because I forced you all to sit somewhere that's not normally where you sit. I'm trying to group you all by South Campus, North Campus, class presidents, commuters. It's kind of worked out that way, although I don't think WC over here. Oh, we'll get to that when we get there. Trying to group you all with your constituencies, so you're all with people you share a constituency with. No spreading out. I'm trying to help it so that we can have a dialogue among the people we represent.
changing. Are we going to allow people with, like relatable, comments on the topic to like raise their hand? So that we know the difference between somebody who has just a new issue or relatable to what's being said at the moment.
What's the book say? This is our copy of Robert's Rules. I just got it from Amazon. We're going to follow it religiously.
I'm gonna take notes on the things.
We'll have an answer for that.
Basically, if you didn't hear me, what I was just saying was, knowing the difference between, like, for the standing and speaking, like, for me to know the difference between somebody who has something relevant to say, like, towards the, topic at hand, or someone just has like a new issue to say, so that I can pick the person with relatable to the topic at hand, so we're not going back and forth between topics.
I'm sure there's provision there for
Yeah.
us. All right, the reason we've done this, it's a little awkward, I get that, and we can maybe change it up as we go. I'm gonna ask for feedback at the end of the meeting. The reason we've done this is so we can now accommodate chairs in the back for guest speakers, students come for student speak out, make it more open and inviting, because before with it so open as a circle, everyone was kind of crammed against the back, and no one felt like they could come, it was very awkward and uninviting to a lot of people. So this may be a little awkward for us, but it'll help people who want to be here feel comfortable being here. The other change I'm making is we've always done committee meetings at the last meeting of the month. We didn't really do those as much last semester just because the way things worked out, it didn't work out so well. We're going to stick to that schedule this semester, but the change that we're making is that following those meetings, I want committee chairs to report on what the meetings have done. I don't hear any, we have nothing to report because there should be at least something discussed. If not legislation written, if not issues that were brought to you, there should be something of actual content. Nice, yeah, that's actually helpful. All right, so here's a reminder of what we do. We're here to represent student interests. We're not here to represent our own interests. You shouldn't be voting what you want. You should be voting what PG wants, or what your class wants, or what LQ wants. You should also, in that vein, be talking to your constituents. They should be telling you what they want. You can't assume, maybe you can. I don't know, you can guess pretty well, but I'd rather you go and talk to them. That's kind of what we're here for. The biggest part of what we do is we utilize the student fees that are paid to us to benefit the majority of the student body. Students pay $270 a year. That goes directly to the SGA. That's what we have to work with. Doesn't sound like a lot, it is a lot. It's $400,000 a year. That's what we've got to work with. Act as a channel for student concerns to the pertinent departments. I heard Katie tell the townhouse senators that there was ice in front of her house and it felt dangerous leaving. That's something we deal with. Ideally, if I hadn't heard that, they would come and tell me, or they take their own initiative and go to facilities and say, hey, there's a lot of ice in front of houses, what can we do? We need to tell you where the houses are, can you go put salt out to help with the ice? We need to do something because students don't feel safe. That's what we're here for. Advocate for student issues, the college administration may not be aware of. This is where I come in the most. I'm having regular bi-weekly meetings with Dean Brown this year, or semester, and I've managed to lose my way into meetings with Dr. Jordan as well, somehow. So, if you have issues, you need to come to me and I can take it to them. They are not going to say they weren't informed. All right. Thank Morgan for making this.
Thanks, Warren.
Look at the camera and say that she should be watching. This is our breakdown of sort of how the senator. Huh, okay. Well, let's answer the question. I thought we had 3 commuter senators. According to this one, 2. Well, one left. One. We'll check the constitution. We'll check the constitution, just to be sure, because if not, this can be edited. Here you go. Does this make sense to everyone? This breakdown makes sense? The reason we have 2 for QA and 3 for LQ and 3 for townhouses is because there are more people living in townhouses and more people living in LQ than there are in QA. 1 per 100 students? That's about that ratio. That's about how it works. And if I remember, it was like 197 or so. So there you go. That's how this works out. That's why you in the traditional dorms can confer with each other closely. I say that you all don't, but you can work in groups of two within the group of three. Oh, wow, the executive board circle. This is all new to me. She made this and put it in, so here's our general breakdown of how the SGA exec board works. We don't currently have an MPEC rep or a CSD rep, and that's okay because they're not on here anyway. But this is a good point of reference. This won't tell you everything each position does, but if you need to go back and look, this is in the public folder that you all have access to. If you need some sort of point of reference, and just, what the hell is the president does again? There you go, liaison between SGA administration. Good. Here's how our committees work. Another change we're making this semester that I would like to see done is the consolidation of committees. We have too many, and there are many that can just fold it into one another. But for now, this is what each committee is, and each committee does. If you're a committee chair and you don't know what your committee does, here's a little summary. Sound good? Is everyone with me so far? Does anyone have questions before I continue? Or concerns? Knowing your role as SGA senators, this is a big deal, and I wish someone had put this in the lecture for me when I was a senator. This is a very basic breakdown. I'm going to go more into depth in all the slides. Committee constituents, send constituent emails, or more generally, communicate with them. Write legislation. It shouldn't just be me or Jake or one or two or three people writing them. It should be everyone. If you have something you want to see changed, write a bill for it. It's actually really easy to do. So easy, we're going to go over it. Put on legislation, that's actually really easy. I don't know why I put it in there, but it is like the crux of what we do here. Be a part of a committee. Hopefully, when we consolidate all of them, it'll be a little easier for everyone to be on the committee. And you can be on multiple. There's nothing to do from that. And actually be an active member of the Senate. Don't just sit in your chair. I'm not going to allow you to sit in your chair if you want to talk. You got to stand up now. But don't just sit there and keep your chair warm. I want to hear your voices. You're here to discuss things. You're here to be an active member. You're here to talk about issues and make sure we can resolve them in a way that the majority of us agree with. Probably won't get everyone to agree with it, although pass legislation might say otherwise because we all just need to vote it down. So what happens? Knowing your constituents. Yes, Justin.
Hi, Justin, for understanding. Real quickly, I like what you said a lot about voting for your constituents' interests, not for your own self-interest. This is part of public service. I'll also highlight a bit of nuance when it comes to representation. In political science, you'll know that you're a mandated delegate or you're a trustee delegate. Mandated delegate does exactly what the constituency calls them to. The trustee delegate is elected for their judgment. So a lot of the time you will just be getting exactly what your constituents tell you to do, but sometimes there are moments of judgment. Hopefully this doesn't always happen because we heard decision number one had to do with the ECAC resolution. Some senators felt like not all the constituents agreed on it, and they didn't have a majority to actually make a decision either way. They had to use their judgment in that situation. And as public servants of the college, you are expected to have principled judgment when it comes to matters which is called for you. So again, sometimes voting for the interests of the constituents doesn't always mean it's going to look exactly like what someone's going to be saying or asking for. So it's a question of judgment and a question of maturity. And that's a standard that's higher than other things in the standards that you guys are expected to rise up to.
Okay. A lot of this is engaging with the students you represent regularly. That's easier in the traditional dorms because you can just leave your door open and people will walk by and maybe say something to you. It's a little harder in the townhouses and LQ just because they're so spread out. I understand that. I really like the way Alec and the other townhouse senators addressed it by going through the door. That is a huge expedition, and I know it took him several days to complete that. Maybe don't do that regularly, but do it at least once a semester because you need to hear what everyone is concerned about. You have a lot of good feedback from that. Yes.
Okay.
It's getting good practice.
I was just wondering, if your constituents come to you with like an issue they see or a request they have, or like something that would make their experience in the dorm better, like when should we bring that up in meetings?
So there's a section for senator reports.
Okay.
That tends to be the best time. If it's something really pressing, my email is always open, and you all know I will respond to emails usually up until 3 or 4 in the morning. So, yeah, send it to me, I'll respond, as soon as I can.
If it's pressing, like during student speak out, like some other people, like they do it automatically, like if it's something that relates to everyone or like it's a discussion type, like one, then student speak out is best, then you can have a discussion about it.
And if it's extremely pressing, like it needs to be addressed that, I'll start including my phone number in my email, so you'll probably contact me as soon as you need to, or, at that rate, you try to I don't know what I'm gonna do like 1 in the morning, it's a really big emergency. Here for, but I've been known to help, and I think we all could say the same. Office hours, that's traditionally where we've left it. I don't think it's enough. Alec and others have impressed upon me that it's not enough, and I agree. I don't think you should get rid of them though. I'm going to recommend you try and hold office hours regularly, and let me rephrase that. I'm going to say that you all actually, yes, you definitely need to have office hours regularly, and if you don't, well, we'll address that when we get to that point. Post your office hours. Let that be the end of it. But do more than office hours. Issues being for the Senate should be issues that affect everyone in the constituency. That's a pretty obvious thing. But don't let it just be your friend group. It shouldn't be the 5 people you talk to every day on the way to the break room. It shouldn't be your roommate who's bitching to you about something. It should be everyone in the dorm hall or the majority of people in the dorm hall saying, here is an issue we have. There's a lot of ice in front of our townhouse and we don't feel safe walking out. That's an issue that affects a lot of people. Something you can address. I know a lot of the examples I've been giving are bad things on campus. Stay informed about what's good. Students do enjoy things on campus sometimes, and it's nice to know what those things are and how we can either enhance them more or maintain them. Don't just go and say, hey, what's wrong? Say, hey, what do you enjoy? Another change that I forgot to add in the list is I want to see monthly reports from not you individually, but you as a group. So QA senators once a month, report from you, townhouse senators once a month, collectively write something, send it to SGA, smc.edu, and say, here's what we've done. Here are the people we've talked to, or just how many people we've talked to. Here are the issues they've brought up. Here are the ways we've addressed them. We brought them to the Senate. We emailed you at 3 in the morning. We did this or that or the other, and there you go. Thank you. That would be a really great start to being more proactive. And if I'm not getting those emails, I'm going to address it as a group. And if you 2 or 3 want to duke it out between each other, that's on you, but it's going to be your hides as a group. Constituent emails. These are very important. And I know a lot of people were sending them last semester, and I just wasn't getting them through the SGA email because I forgot to send them. Something, I don't know. Last semester, I think I got 6. And I should have been getting 1 from every group once a week. So it should have been 7 a week instead of 6 in a semester. So keep sending those to the SGA email address. If I don't see them, I will address them. Last semester was a hectic, crazy time, and I'm sorry I couldn't address it more. I do take full responsibility for that. I wasn't leading as well as I should have. I'm sorry. I wasn't addressing concerns as well as I should have. This is one thing I will address. These are really important because even though so many students just leave them, so many students don't care, there are a lot who actually really do rely on these reviews, and they will read them and they will talk about them, and people will start to give you information. It may not be all 1,600 students on Tuesday nights who read about it, but by the end of the week, all 1,600 students will know what happened, and that's important. If we don't send them out, the people aren't going to know. All right, let's move on to legislation. Recapping what legislation is. So we have bills, constitutional bylaw amendments, resolutions, and then presidential legislation. Bills, those are the general things. Changes to the Senate, the spending issue, policy changes. Usually, those are the everyday stuff. Constitutional bylaws amendments, they're tricky, but they create change within the documents that govern the Senate. Resolutions, those are things that we can pass and say, hey, we really don't like what the administration is doing about ice on the sidewalks. We can't do anything about it, but we can put our voice out there and say, look, this is an issue and you all need to address it. And presidential legislation stuff I write, proclamations, executive orders, and appointments. We'll get to those in a second. Yeah, step 1. All right, writing legislation, step 1. I want a very specific format with how you start your legislation. This helps keep it in line, helps make things more obvious for me. It'll be bill, or proclamation, or bylaws amendment, or resolution, whatever it is, followed by the year we're in. So this should be 19 instead of 18. What number of document that is. So is it the first bill we've written? Is it the third amendment we've written? Is it the fifth resolution we've written? God forbid we get that far. And then an F or an S in brackets to indicate the semester. The reason this is the way it is because we can look back in the folders and say, we wrote this bill, it used to be 1802 or something, and you couldn't tell if you wrote it in the spring or the fall or which administration passed it and which SGA did it. We're going to do this so we can just look and see, keep a record of everything we've done. Katie, we'd like to have legislation in by Thursday nights. It's moving it up a day from before. Our goal is to have the agenda written and done by Thursday night, so that way you have it out to the student body in a timely manner. They can see it, they can comment on it, they can come in, they can speak about it. And I don't see it Monday morning and say, wow, I wish I'd done a couple of days earlier, so I come.
And I'm just gonna say with legislation earlier is better because I do actually look at everything before it goes to my committee. So if I like get something from you and it's completely like in the wrong format, you just got confused, I can send it back to you immediately and be like, hey, you need to revise this and send it back to me before it goes to my committee.
All right, sponsors.
I
Yes.
just had one thing.
Getting that happened, I like this, thank you very much.
With the numbering of the bills, is there any way we could possibly have a running tally, something like the SGA drive? Because I find it difficult, like, when I was running legislation last semester, I didn't do that.
You do it.
Yeah,
So there should be one list, isn't there?
there was a list, but I forgot to update it, so I'm gonna update the one from last semester to the shared folder, because I think I have it in the wrong folder. But then you'll see everything that passed last semester, but everything's gonna start at 19 this semester, so. But yeah,
Okay, cool. Yes, that's a good one. We'll try and find a new way to make it so you don't have to go into that document because it gets laggy, because it gets so big sometimes. So we'll find a new way. We'll have like a tabulated list and make it a little bit easier. We'll come to this.
Yeah.
Okay, so sponsorship. To sponsor a bill means you've written it. To co-sponsor a bill means you might agree with it, or you just want to see it come to the floor. We've had people remove their co-sponsorships in the middle of a debate. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But this is important because you can be a contributor to a bill, puts your name out there, shows me you're being proactive, which is nice. Even if all you did was someone came up to you and said, hey, you want to go sponsor this bill? And you said, sure, I didn't read it, but go ahead. I prefer you read it. I'll have no way of verifying, but read it, please. There you go. Okay, I know this part is confusing, that's why this is a little elongated. The whereas thing, the way we have it broken down, each whereas is a specific segment of the issue. Whereas it snowed recently. Whereas physical plant did their best to plow the snow away from the townhouse doors. Whereas that has been insufficient and therefore ice has continued to build up. You list like the chain of events that led to it and what the issue is we're trying to address. Conclusion. Yes, Justin.
Sometimes in your whereas clause, you might like to include, if it's relevant, a passage from St. Mary's Way. It's a very good way of lending just the principal credence and sort of authority to what you're trying to accomplish.
Whereas it is in the same Mary's way that we are for the responsible stewardship of the place in which we live. No, I just remember that. Thank you. The end conclusion is, what are you going to do about it? Be it hereby resolved, we'll allocate $500 to purchase salt to put in front of the townhouse doors to help resolve the salt issue. It's a little more in depth than that, though, because where's the money coming from? Who's getting the money? Each one has its own be hereby resolved. Be hereby resolved, we'll allocate $500 from special carryover. Be hereby further resolved, that $500 will go to fiscal plant for the purchase of salt or something. I don't know. Each one has a specific reason. You can't just say, we want a slushing machine. Here's, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought, we want a slushing machine in the great room. Here's $1 for it. You can't do that. You have to say what it is, why students want it, who's thinking about it, where the money's going to come from. And then you can say, and this is the company we're going to buy it from, and these are the students who supported. Here's how much money we're gonna put into it and where it's coming from. Okay, moving on to committees. Okay. So the reason we have committees is so that we as a Senate can address a couple of very general issues, but it's easier if we have Facilities, Grounds, and Maintenance Committee. That's right. Facilities, Grounds, and Maintenance to address the issues of lighting in the QA woods. Or that committee also does, that committee also does recognition of the staff at the end of the semester, spring semester, to say, thank you for all the hard work you've done for the student body. We really, really appreciate it. We couldn't live here and call it something about you. That's what that committee does. We could do it here as a full Senate. It's not going to be as easy. That's why we have the committees. Again, I want reports. Again, we're going to consolidate committees. So Environmental Protection Committee will probably fall under Facilities, Grounds, and Maintenance because that makes the most sense to me. Maybe we'll fold policy review on student life. I haven't thought that far. I'm speculating. We'll discuss that when we get to it, but no, it's coming. Any questions about committees? Committee chairs, you know who you are. Can I get a show of hands from committee chairs? Cool. You are. Okay. Let's do this. Katie, what's your committee?
Hello, I'm Joyce Member.
No. Oh, yes, get in the cut. Let's do this. And you know, I should be standing too.
Also, sure, I am the chair of Constitutional Review Committee. It is the only committee mandated in the Constitution. The rest of you are in the bylaws. We meet every week to review the legislation and approve it to be presented to the Senate. That's all I have.
Justin.
Hi, I'm the chairman of the Policy Review Committee. We review internal SGA issues, we look at bylaws, we make recommendations. We also handle club conduct. It's one of our larger responsibilities. So, yeah.
Who's next?
I'm Eric Johnson, Chairman of the Environmental Protection Committee. Going to act as a relation between environmental clubs and the Sustainability Office, make sure everything's up to quota.
And thank you, to reiterate the idea of consolidating, one thing I don't want people to think is that we're just gonna get rid of committees. One thing I'd like to try and start subcommittees, so that we have 10 people in a committee, 3 of them are gonna work on environmental protection. So just so you know, yours isn't probably gonna go away, it's just gonna be consolidated into something. Okay? All right, who's next? Let's just go in a circle.
Facilities, grounds, and food services, so review midnight breakfast and PPD QA lighting.
That's the general kind of stuff. I worked with Rebecca to try and address the issue of like the lighting in the woods and what was the other thing we did before Halloween? It was like sight lines.
Yeah, like the walkthrough.
Yeah, and so that committee works on like, hey, it's really overgrown in QA woods, can we cut it down? And lo and behold, they went and cut everything down. Now you can see through it a lot easier, and it's a lot safer. That's the kind of stuff that committee does. All right, CC, no, Jada, then CC, sorry.
Hi guys, I'm the chair for CREAC, which is Cultural Relations Investigation and Actions Committee. So basically, my goal for the committee is to have eyes and ears in different pockets of the campus to basically pick up on any type of issues of racism or discrimination. And then either as a group, we can decide if it's something that we can handle on our own and directly go to an administrator about, or if then we should allocate it to another committee. So
I'll just kneel. So I'm the chair of publicity committee, and our big goal for, this semester is kind of growing our social media presence and getting students really participating with us through social media and being like aware of what we're doing.
I am on the co-chair for the disaster relief committee on cultural effect and immediately natural disaster relief that needs to be done.
Who was next?
I am the chair of student life, and I'm looking to learn more about communicating with the students on what they want to see changed, specifically on how they can enjoy campus life more and enjoy their time here as well as community.
Are there any committees I missed? I will say this, I am looking to bring a new committee. Did we pass it? I don't know. I'm looking to bring a new committee. We're going to try and revive the Public Safety Advisory Council, but under an SGA committee to make it easier to maintain and harder to get rid of. But we're instead of the Public Safety Advisory Council, we're going to rename it the Public Safety Advisory Committee. So we can still keep it as a DSEC because it's kind of fun. All right. Yes.
Probably during everything, what time is your committee meeting every week?
It might be changing. It was at 7 p.m. on Saturdays, but it might be,
Alright,
it might be moving. I might be moving it up in time
TBD.
because it's a weird time. We'll talk.
Okay. Be active as senators. I cannot stress this enough. We had a kind of relaxed, putting it lightly, last semester. I want to see change. I want to see positive growth and progress, not just in the Senate, but I want to see it around campus led by the SGA. Part of it's going to be, we need to be more active. There are some things that we just shouldn't complacently rubber stamp and let go. We need to debate it, we need to talk about it, we need to make sure that what we're doing here is what's right for the student body and not just stuff that we want to let slide. Part of that is I want to see more discussion. Shouldn't just be a, hey, here's my bill. Pass it. I want to see discussion. If you agree with it fully, maybe try being devil's advocate. Look for issues with it and say, yeah, okay, let's play around. Let's actually argue about it for once. God, what else do I got? Yeah, despite wanting to be have more debate here, remember we are a group and we are a unified body. We do lead the school. So even though we are, I'm asking you to be divisive with one another, it's because as a group, I want to change. The division is nothing personal. You do not even actually need to argue. I just want to see debate. And again, and that's a very good point. And again, I would like to reiterate that this doesn't just apply to senators and class presidents. This applies to all of the exec board as well. I want to see actual activity. I think everyone here is aware of that. I don't think I need to say it, but I'm saying it because if I don't, what am I doing here? All right, let's go over private. This is going to suck for everyone. Wow, that got cut off. Okay. We're just going to roll through how parliamentary procedure is supposed to work because I really would like it if senators could actually start taking the lead on how we progress through the agenda. So it sounds very orchestrated. It really kind of is. It is an orchestrated dialogue. There is a script that goes with it. And if you guys don't say it, we can't play the next part. Okay, so let's go to an example. Starting the meeting. The Vito will say, I call this meeting to order at 8:15 p.m. Do I hear a motion to move forward? You say? Thank you. With enthusiasm. And then you say? Thank you. Everything needs a second, except for the things that I say don't need a second. They're in the slideshow. I didn't make them up. Robert's rule says so. The reason we do this is not just because it's not just because it helps keep the meeting flowing, but also because I'm trying to ingrain in everyone here, myself included, that what we're doing here is not just getting together at 8:15 every Tuesday. We're trying to do something serious. We're trying to make actual lasting change that people may not remember, but they'll look at it and they'll benefit from it. I don't care if they forget who did it, but I want them to benefit. I want them to have a positive experience at St. Mary's because of something we've done, even if we never get credit. We're not here to get credit, we're just here to make change. It's serious stuff. It can be serious stuff. Funding clubs, not so serious to me. I mean, it's a big thing, sorry, Victoria, Jake. It's a big thing, it's a big part of what we do. It's a big part of what we do. It's a big part of what we do, and we can rubber stamp it all day long, and that's fine. But it's not the most serious thing we do. The things clubs do can be serious, and I'll give you guys that because you contribute to it. Just remember what we're doing. We're aiming to make a lasting impression. And it starts with just saying, I motion to move to roll call vote. So, because it's a serious thing we're trying to do. And I want you to remember that. Keep the formality. Okay, consistency in answers. This annoys the crap out of me, and luckily none of you did it, so good job. When you agree with something, when you want something, when you say, yes, I agree with that, you say, aye. You don't say yay, that's shit. You don't say yes, you say aye. You're opposed to it, you say nay. Not no, not nah, not eh. You say nay. If you don't want to vote, if you don't feel informed enough to vote, if you don't feel like you should vote, you abstain. That's, remember though, this is important, and this is something we've had issues with. If you abstain, your vote counts as a non-vote. If we have 25 voters and 5 of them abstain, we suddenly have 20 voters. Yeah, that can make the score, yeah. We need to have at least 13 voters to actually do anything. So remember, if you don't want something to pass, if you don't feel comfortable, abstaining isn't gonna help.
Please speak loudly and enunciate. I am in the corner with my laptop, and I hear an aye and then a quick nay, and I can't tell what you said. And so that's why sometimes you'll see me pause and be like, can you repeat that? Because I just literally can't hear you. So just speak loudly, clearly, and enunciate.
Another interesting part about abstaining, not only will it lower the standard for a vote to pass, but if enough people abstain, you might actually be able to do anything at all. Because what happens is that because if no one is present, and you need to meet a quorum, which is the amount of people you need to officially say we're holding a meeting. I believe for the Senate, it is 50% plus 1, a simple majority. But that
So
means
we need 13.
we need 13 people. But that means if, I'm bad at math, 12, 13 people, if 13 people decide to abstain, there's no longer a quorum. And you can't do anything at all. And it's also like, I've seen it happen before. It's kind of messy and it's kind of embarrassing too. But just make sure like you're using your abstention seriously. It's whether you think it's not your place to say it or you just don't have the information for it. Because if you abstain enough, sometimes, I think it happened 1 or 2 years ago, we just had to table it because we didn't even have a quorum that night because everyone abstained on a particular vote. At least move on to the next thing. So that's also something that happens.
So an example of an appropriate time to abstain, last spring, there was a bill on the table to pay exempt board members. I had just been elected SGA president, but I was still sat there and had a vote. I should not have voted, and I didn't, because it would have affected me. That was a conflict of interest, I abstained. And we don't get there. There you go. Parley Pro, part 3. Depending on how the motion, there's like 9 parts. Depending on how the motion goes, the veto will say it is the opinion of the chair that the ayes or nays have it, this vote or motion passes or fails. So that's a good thing. All right, that's the indicator that we can move on. Discussion versus debate. Here we go. This is fun. We have a lot of discussion. We've never had an actual debate. Discussion is the, hey, can you answer this question for me about this bill? I have an issue with this. Can we talk about it a little more? Debate is we split the sides. The chair will, the sides will appoint leaders, and the chair will allocate time to each side to speak. It is when there is a divisive issue that there are 2 definitively opposed sides. I've seen it once. It was messy. That wasn't there for your kid. It was messy. It happens though. In this case, we will again allocate the time, usually in 1-minute increments, probably minimum of 5 minutes. It can be an awful long time to say a lot of things. At this point, the leader is the one who's speaking. Whatever the debate is, I'm the one who's speaking for this side. The leader's the one speaking for that side, not that we would be, just an example. If I'm done speaking, but there's still more that can be said, I can yield time to the next person in my group. But you stay within 5 minutes. If 5 people speak 1 minute each, that's your time. And that's how the debate rolls, and you stay polite, and you don't attack anyone personally, and you stay on topic. Okay, here's the kind of general breakdown of things you can say, things that can just kind of come up. Are we ready to leave? You would say, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Someone would say, and then someone would say, there you go. Let's say we've got a big debate coming up, it's already been a long night. Motion that we recess for 5 minutes. We'll take a break for 5 minutes, come back. There is a second needed for that one as well. If you can't hear, you can say point of privilege. You don't need to be recognized for that one. You can just say, hey, I can't hear, speak up. You don't need a second for that one. Are we talking about something that maybe isn't gonna come to any fruition tonight? I motion we table until next Tuesday. List a date. Don't give a shit. Something's off. You would generally agree with this bill, but there's just something in there that doesn't sit right with you. I motion that we amend. You state your own. That one, you also need a second. Someone has to agree with you on that one. Then it goes to a vote on the amendment. Yes, we did this wrong.
On the amendment.
And then we vote on the amended bill. All right, are we discussing something? And suddenly we went from talking about ice at the townhouses to goddamn slushy machine in the same sentence. Don't know how it happened, don't care. Point of order. We are no longer on topic. Point of order. Get back on topic. Do you want to consider something off topic? My voice died. Motion to suspend the rules. To discuss whatever. You can suspend the rules to just kind of like point out, hey, this is how we're supposed to be doing things. Suspend the rules to kind of divert the topic for a second. This one you need to have a second. Use it conservatively. I don't want to see getting off topic all the time because you want to abuse Pro. Okay, that's it for Pro. Let's go over what we're going to do this semester. I want to address and create sensible policy in line with student demand. We're here to make student life better. We come here to get an education, but when the professors leave, we stay. And this is our home. We can make it a home, or we can make it a shitty home.
Point of order.
Mayor Honor President, please stop swearing. Like, this is supposed to be, it is, if you're gonna go and talk about, being respectful or presenting yourself in a respectful manner, I remind the President that you need not to need to follow the law.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thank you. That's a good point. No, he's absolutely right. I swear a lot. I don't. Well, point of order. If I curse, call me out. All right. We're going to increase community activity involvement. I want students involved. It's a hard thing. Students don't want to be involved, and that's not their fault. Maybe we just don't give them enough to do. We can make it happen though. And a large part of it is the SGA doing something about it. Increase campus safety and comfort. We need to work with the wellness center and public safety more, and I want that to happen more this semester. We need to support public safety officers because they're here to keep us safe. I want to support the wellness center because they're doing the best they can. I have a lot of updates from both departments from meetings that I had this past week that I'll give you when we get to that part of the agenda. Utilize student government resources to expand personal services to the student body, to promote inclusion and equity, and to create a home for all students. Not that we're not an equitable campus to some degree, but we can definitely make it better. We can definitely provide things for students to make their lives easier and more comfortable. We're definitely sitting on a lot of money that we need to use, that students have paid, that hasn't been used yet this year. We need to do things. Work with the college administration to foster better relationships between administrators and students. This one relies mostly on me. I take full responsibility for this. I'm working to try and meet more with different department heads, with different administrators, let them know what's going on, what student perception of them is, and what they want to see done with the administration. Are there any questions or comments? Just general observations? Yes.
Is it possible that we could have a doc made with all of the, dialogue, or everything that we're supposed to say?
I have, so, I have the cheat sheet. I should have uploaded it to the Google Drive. And then additional information. Oh, shoot. I'm in the Google, so sorry. Where's your folder?
Excuse you?
I went too far back.
Don't look at me.
Where's your folder?
Don't do.
I'm in it. Additional information. General additional. I have a cheat sheet. Who made these folders? I did. I have a cheat sheet. I will put it in the additional information folder. It lists in a nice, beautiful table, is this your issue? Here's the things you say. How many votes does it need? Does it need votes at all? Do you need a second? Does the chair need to even recognize you? Do you have to stand up? Yes? No? All right, go for it. It's a really nice cheat sheet. I use it a lot last semester. And as soon as we saw it, I'll upload it shortly. Yes.
So when we vote, do you want us to stand, when we vote, do you want us to stand up?
No. Voting, if you're speaking to address an issue or present legislation, stand up. If you can, I want to make that clear. If you can't stand up, do not. If you can, please do it. Anything else?
With the doing more other than office hours, like, do you have any suggestions of like what we should do for that?
We'll get there. I'm going to defer to the model of the townhouse senators, which was to go around and announce, hey, I'm coming on these days, and then knock on doors. That was a very extensive thing. It can be as simple as sitting outside your room and saying, hey, what's going on? What are your issues today? What's something good that's happened today? Yes.
I was wondering if we could maybe compile a list of different points of contact for different parts of the campus. Like, so say I want to do an ice machine, right? Who would I contact for that, right? I would contact somebody from maybe Bon Appetit or maybe someone over that works in the break room. But the problem is I don't really know an email for that, and of course I could just ask, but I think it'd be a lot more, cohesive for senators, and even maybe students, but specifically senators, to have kind of a list of points of contact for, say, public safety, or I'm sure everyone does that, but land editing, that kind of stuff. And then once you kind of have a point of contact for that, then you can start thinking about what bills you would create, and that kind of stuff.
I'll work on making it. I think it'll be a very general list. It'll be like department and email address, phone number, and name. Yeah. It won't be as specific as these are the top 5 people in London that you can talk to the department heads. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? All right. Oh, yeah, sorry.
So I was also wondering, I think earlier in the semester, I had a question about clubs. And I know our website is a little outdated in terms of SGA, policies and what we do in clubs in general. I just wondering, maybe this is a long-term goal or a goal future, we'll update that. And I think, I know Victoria, you're working really hard. But I think also maybe SGA.
So, right now, so I actually have been talking with Dan Pindell, who is actually one of the point people in terms of creating websites and such. I actually submitted to him a bunch of templates over last semester, actually, a long time last semester. And over winter break, he was supposed to be looking through them, making sure that they were going to be adequate for our campus. But if you guys have any ideas of like what type of things you'd like to see on this website, what you think would be beneficial, what kind of widgets or like back routes or tabs you would like to see, please email them to me. I would be happy to hear from you. And yes, we as a cohesive SGA are actually working really hard towards that. It's just me and Cecilia are actually just the subcommittee for that. But I'm hoping, I want to say in the next month, I'd really like it to be done. And I really will try, you guys. I hope that helps.
And if you need help with that, let us know.
What?
Well, if you need help, let us know, but
Yeah.
it sounds like you've got it.
Yeah. Maybe.
But yeah, we started that process in November.
Yeah.
That's right. We found out we had 9 websites scattered about, so we just shut all of them down.
They were all wrong.
They were all. CC, you've had your number.
Yeah, I just want to say, with the website, I know that it seems like it's kind of taking a while for us, but there's a lot of complications and there's a lot of things that we have to consider and a lot of hoops that we have to jump through. And we're trying to give you updates every meeting. If you don't think there's sufficient updates, let us know and we can be a little bit more detailed about it. And then just, with Victoria saying stuff, if you want to know exactly what we're doing, or if you want to help us out, come and tell us. We're open to hearing you out and getting help.
We're both very friendly.
Any more questions or comments, concerns, or observations? All right. If you have any future comments or questions or concerns or observations, email me. And like I said, email me, or if you absolutely need to get a hold of me and you prefer Facebook, I have Facebook Messenger. And if you want to text me, I don't answer phone calls. There's my phone number. So just text me, Facebook Messenger me. You don't have an excuse not to contact me.
All right. Are there any other comments, last questions, concerns? Okay, on behalf of Sierra Williams, who's the newest person in OS3, she wanted us to relay some workshops that they're gonna have going on. So this, as you can see, it is in the additional information folder for today's meeting. So we need you to just attach those to your constituent reports and send those out. There's this one and there's this one. Just put those in your email and we'll have them on either monthly or whenever she sends them to me or us, I'll put them in the additional information folder for that meeting, and I will let you all know that they're there so that you can put them in your constituent reports. Okay. 2 officer reports, president messages.
I'm sorry, I'm sure you're all tired of listening to me, but I had a lot of meetings this past week with different administrators to address student concerns. The first meeting I had was with Public Safety Director Tressa Setlak on January 8th. We discussed issues such as the Huey Woods issues that persisted throughout last semester, surveillance cameras that were being installed, and some general lighting issues, as well as blue lights. Regarding Huey Woods, I didn't really get any update. I did hear that the issue persisted over the break, but I also heard that, thank you, Justin, for reminding me. Yeah, if I don't stand, point of order. If you don't stand, also point of order. Okay, thank you, Justin. only the speaker doesn't have to stand because that's what that position is.
Oh, chair for a reason.
Sure. This is true. Okay. The issue persisted over the break, and at this point, I have not heard of any solutions, and they are not sharing solutions as they don't give anything away. Although I did hear conflicting information that the issue did not persist, so I really don't have a clear indicator of what is happening, and I'm hoping to find more information in the coming week. Surveillance cameras are being installed as we speak. At this point, they're being installed in the campus center throughout the interior, as well as the parking lots behind and around PG and Caroline. The hotspot issue that I advocated for with Rita was not R. However, special cameras are required for that, which exceeded the funding that was available for this first round of cameras, but will come in the second round, probably starting in March or April. So you can look forward to those cameras coming, and they're planning on phasing them in slowly over the next coming years, I think. As far as general lighting issues, I'm sure we've all noticed that when the lights go out around campus, so do the street lights. I think that's a really big safety issue, and I'm working to try and have all the street lights and path lights put on backup generators so that at least the paths stay lit. If the academic buildings can stay lit, so can the paths. I discussed the blue light issue with her as well. They are not considering adding any more blue lights, as they have found that they can potentially pose a safety risk. As in order for them to operate, the person operating it must stand with the blue light, which begins flashing and draws attention to it. And they recommend students use their cell phones in the event of an emergency, as well as downloading the 911 Shield app. Campus Shield, sorry. They used to be 911 Shield, it is now Campus Shield. Those are the recommended procedures for addressing any immediate dangers, such as being pursued by someone across campus. I'm going to strongly recommend that, these colors currently exist on a one light standard, which means from any one blue light, you should see one more. Most other campuses exist on a 3 light standard, which is from any one you can see 3 more. That involves a level of infrastructure that the public safety office is not intending to add to or create, but I'm going to recommend that they at least maybe do a 2 light system, something more than what we've got. Yes.
Last semester I did my final project on safety around campus and lighting specifically. So I have a lot of data that I took from campus-wide surveys of where students feel unsafe. And I plotted that, and I also plotted where the blue lights are right now in comparison, and where I made suggestions for where blue lights should be placed.
Can you share that with me?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, yeah, good.
Please, if you could make it aware to public safety that not having service is problematic. If you want us to use an app exclusively, it would, I think, be predicated on the fact that universal service. I have AT&T and I know for a fact that many buildings and many places to campus. I could appreciate money, I'm sure, other people guys.
Yes, I did bring that issue up to her. I didn't get any clear response, and I know for recent Wi-Fi outages, especially on North Campus, that is a huge issue. In that vein, I'm still going to heavily suggest that public safety at least add more blue lights, probably in line with what Senator Pence has recommended. And thank you for that information. But I'm also going to try and work with the IT department to strengthen Wi-Fi service and internet connectivity on campus as a twofold kind of safety concern. They may still limit data speeds, and I think that's okay as long as they can increase the range and availability of Wi-Fi. Yes. Question.
Yeah. So I was told that the protocol with the blue lights is that someone activates it and then talks to public safety, and after talking to them, public safety comes down. Is there a way to make it so that once the blue light's activated, they start sending people down like immediately?
Yes, so I did also raise that concern to Tressa. Her response was that they will always send someone if a blue light is activated, regardless of whether there's someone on the other side or not. The issue, though, that they have found is that they can't adequately respond if there's no one there to tell them what's going on, and they can't respond quickly enough. If there's an active shooter, and that's the reason they're calling, they're not just gonna send one person, or they would like to send multiple people if they need to. If it's an issue of kidnapping or just harassment, they will likely send just one person, but again, they can't gauge how they need to adequately respond. But they will always send someone. So, does that answer your question? They'll send someone regardless of whether you're on the side or on the house. But they just would prefer to have someone there so that they can understand what's going on and how they should respond. Which is why they want to use the canvas shield now, because they can get all the information while you're running or hiding or walking briskly towards someone. However, your response to that incident would be. Are there any questions regarding that meeting? I have way more I'm going through, but I want to address them.
That's a good question, but question time, do you know what has she given to you any sort of response time for a public safety officer to respond to anything?
No.
Could you?
I will ask. I would like to find out.
And also app as well, see if there's anything.
Yes. All right. Are there other questions for that meeting? Okay. The next meeting I had was with Dean Brown following that meeting on the same day with Director Tressa Seppak. In that meeting, I had Senator Bernstein with me, and there are student life issues that we considered with Dean Brown, but I will leave that to Alec to discuss because that is his initiative. We discussed student admin relations, a very contentious issue, I think we can all agree. Dean Brown is planning on continuing to address student concerns that were brought up at the last student speak out, the big student speak out rather, at regular forums. As I said, will start meeting regularly with Dean Brown. It's only about a half-hour meeting every 2 weeks, but that's when he could fit me in the best time. I will give him updates regularly on what we're doing, although he does receive those probably weekly from Derek anyway. But I don't care. I want him to have that relationship with us. I don't want the middleman, which is also why I'm trying to seek out Dr. Jordan and have that one-on-one meeting with her. At this time, which is another thing we addressed, I'm not going too far with coming. At this time, the meetings I will be having with Dr. Jordan will be in conjunction with meetings with Dean Brown. The next meeting I will have is February, whatever the first Wednesday in February is. It will be a joint meeting between the three of us. I will remind everyone so that if you have issues, comments, or concerns you'd like me to address to Dr. Jordan, I can do so, and at least possibly phrase it.
I think it's February 6th.
6th, thank you. We also discussed the working session open dialogues that Dean Brown started last semester, which not many students attended. We addressed the issue of late notice for those sessions, and that some of them were held on Tuesday nights, which prohibited us from going. He has released the schedule of those events. I don't have them on me at the moment. I will have them for you by the end of the meeting, though. He did say he would move the meeting time back away from Tuesday so we can all attend, and I don't want to require, but strongly encourage everyone to go to his meetings if you possibly can. He's also planning, he has now announced those meeting times, so we have adequate lead time to get those out to the student body. And again, I'll have those ready by the meeting. We also addressed student issues and perception with Title IX and the Wellness Center. I have intended to meet with Michael Dunn to address issues to him, but have not yet had a chance. I have addressed issues to the Wellness Center and have another update, which I will follow once I know these updates. The next working session, I'm sorry. Yes, good.
I was recently hired as a timeline publisher, so you can help with that.
Thank you, appreciate that. The next working session is going to be with Paul Pusiker. He is the Vice President of Finance, replacing Chip Jackson. and he will have an open session with Dean Brown to go over the college's budget and how it operates and how we can access it. It is accessible through the portal, although it's not quite as detailed as I would like, and hopefully we can find a way, or there's a place where it can be presented to us that is more detailed. I do have some messages from Dean Brown and some things that he would like us to be aware of. He wants to know what our focus and agenda will be, and I think the goals that I listed in the presentation will suffice unless you all would rather me add to that or elaborate upon it. And if you would, please let me know. He also wanted me to inform students that the alcohol task force is coming. I've nominated 2 representatives from this Senate to sit upon it, although I haven't told them that yet, I'm sorry. They are planning on using data from the past 2 surveys regarding alcohol and drug use on campus, and to work with the Maryland Collaborative to create an evidence-based approach to the worst drug and alcohol issues on campus. Hopefully this will not take the shape of stricter student life policies. I don't see that it would, but again, hopefully the student input from the SGA will help. Are there any comments or questions about that one before I continue? Yes.
If I were to tell my constituents about that, what would I say?
The alcohol task force?
Yeah.
Tell them that. We'll figure, we're gonna work.
Dad, can you stand here or sit down?
No, we'll figure this out. It's a really big question. We're gonna work this out. But you get the general idea.
Yeah.
I would tell them that the drug and alcohol task force has been formed by the administration to address the largest drug and alcohol issues present on campus and responsibility.
Is there any way you could maybe change that name to something not scary sounding? That sounds like terrifying.
It does. If you want to just call it alcohol task force,
Yeah.
it doesn't quite tell fully what it is, but that's how he described it. But that's the name he's given.
Yeah.
So there's, this isn't my issue. I'm just relaying. Are there any comments or questions or concerns? Okay, moving on. The following day, I had a meeting at the Wellness Center with Director Lori Scherer. We addressed concerns of counselor availability for students, which has been the most contentious issue with her at the Wellness Center. She informed me that there's a 10-day waiting period as of last semester for new intakes, meaning the day you walk in and say, I would like to be seen by a counselor, I'd like to schedule an appointment, it's usually 10 days from that point that you can be seen. That, however, does not exclude walk-in hours, which are every evening or every afternoon from 1 to 3. That did raise the question, what if a student has a particular counselor that they feel comfortable with, that they would rather speak to? She informed me that certain counselors are assigned certain days, which doesn't help if you have a need for it on another day that the preferred counselor is working. But she did inform me, and I stress that this should be used only in case of emergency, but it is possible and encourage that students email or contact their preferred counselor at the moment that they are needed. If it is an emergency, that is not encouraged to be a regular point of contact or a substitution for counseling services. That is a, I need someone right now kind of moment. Yes.
Peer health educators also have open office hours if you need someone to go speak to, and you are unable to get into the walk-in hours, or walk-in hours are not conducive to your schedule.
That is another thing we discussed. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I think also one of the issues is because there are so few counselors and because students, I don't know, I had this conversation with someone else and it seems because students need to see a certain counselor because just because of history, having that conversation that it's not ending up being 10 days and being like every other month or once a month, if that. So I don't know, I think there is a need for it, but whether or not, yeah.
We had a long conversation about all of this. Regarding the peer health educator, she did inform me that there is consideration of having evening discussions with peer health educators if students are amenable and comfortable with that. I think she said it would be like Thursday evenings at PG or something like that. For peer health educator open hours. But she said this is something that they're working with.
Yeah.
And that was, it is hoped that that will help reduce those wait times. We discussed the issue of weekend hours as well, as that's a big issue. I was told by her that weekend hours used to exist, specifically Saturdays from 9 to 12, and I told her those are the worst possible times for college students who want to go to the wellness center because no one's awake at 9 to 5 on Saturdays. But I asked that she consider possibly doing Saturdays from 12 to 4, and that was received very positively. There are issues as far as staffing because it requires a minimum 2 to 3 people to staff the wellness center at any given time. They can't leave people alone in the wellness center. It has to be, there has to be a minimum number. And if you're looking at counseling as well as medical, you need 1 medical person, 1 counseling person, and 1 person in the front desk. So you start getting into financial issues as far as paying those people. But the possibility is out there, and they're aware of it, and they're considering it. I think 12 to 4 is a reasonable time. Is that better than 9 to 12? The other issue that was presented to me when I suggested that was that that tends to eat away one person's entire day because they're not going to do it in the morning. People who work at the wellness center because they're not going to do it in the morning because they'll have to work at 12 and then they'll have to do. I don't really care about those logistics. I'm just hoping that they do it, and I will keep pushing them to get it done. Because if they're paying someone, if they're paying overtime, I think that's we talked about off-campus counseling as a means to also reduce the wait times. This also presented issues as students would require insurance to go see professionals off campus, as well as a means of free transportation. I suggested I suggested that the SGA could provide transportation through the means of Safe Ride or other organizations. That was received positively as well. The issue of insurance, she informed me that the wellness center will help students get state-funded insurance at no cost to students and will help them fill out the information as needed. It is unclear to me that this will help with counseling. It would certainly help with medical, but it's a possibility, and it can only be addressed on a case-by-case basis if you were to go see the wellness center for that issue. She also told me that as far as medically, they currently contract their, what are they called? They contract their medical staff through MedStar. A lot of colleges are finding that they need to increase their contracting services similarly, and that the college may have to move in that direction, which would unfortunately cause the college to start considering student insurance, and it would cause issues of funding. That is not something that is currently happening. It's something that is a this might happen kind of issue, and we're trying to find every way possible to keep everything free and require no insurance for students. So I will keep everyone updated for that as I find out.
Would you keep like the medical psychiatrist or like the actual the actual practice?
Like nurse practitioner, that's the one.
Okay.
Nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
I cannot remember that word.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That is a good one, thank you. Nurse practitioners as far as seeing for a flu or bronchitis or anything like that. I know there's an issue of students feeling that they were misdiagnosed or unable to see anyone, or that they just, their issues were left unnoticed. She did not have any records of students coming to her with those issues. So I'm not saying that they didn't happen. I'm encouraging you all to tell your constituents to go to the wellness center if there are issues, not just medical or psychiatric mental, but also with we don't like what the wellness center is doing, so that they can start addressing the issues more instead of just students kind of complaining to the void. She's also starting a wellness center advisory committee. She's looking for one SGA member to be a part of that. To kind of help show the SGA through this individual that's represented how the wellness center works, and to kind of help increase student population understanding of how the wellness center works. If anyone's interested, please contact me. She's hoping that whoever's interested in this will have an interest in the wellness center field and that kind of long-term job role. And she's also expressed that she'd be willing and able to write a letter of recommendation for anyone in that full-time position. That's the news. Any questions or comments?
All right, Vice President. I have reached out to Karen Crawford, who is she's the president of Senate, or faculty Senate, like Senate leader of that. And she let me know that she will be getting the Google Calendar reminders ready, so yeah, I will be able to go to those meetings and then let you guys know what was talked about in those meetings. I know last semester it was mainly just about the work review, which I do not think will change that much, but I'll just try to get more detailed accounts of those meetings for you guys. Student Director of Campus Program, then.
I have to bring in the additional.
Hello, so Katie wanted us to reintroduce ourselves. So here I am. I'm Rose. I'm the Director of Campus Programming, which basically means I'm the head of programs board. So this is I know there aren't times, I'll say that in a second, but this is our schedule for this week. We have an event going on every day up until Saturday. So the first one was canceled because snow, and the Stuff the Critter already happened. So if you got one, thank you for coming to that. So tomorrow night at 8:30 at the pub, we are gonna have kind of like a comedy night. So you can come out, get some nachos, listen to some comedy for an hour. And then on Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. in Upper Monty, we will be having a winter craft bar, which basically means we'll have like little snowmen that you guys can build and decorate, snowflakes, hot chocolate bar, all of that stuff. It's just like a come and go event. And then Friday, we will also be at Involvement Fair, and we will have surveys there that we would like people to fill out. And if you fill something out, you will get like 5 or 6 free swag things. If that is enticing to any of you, 5 free things. Just to get some feedback on some of the events we've been having this past year, some stuff that you guys want and would like to see more of. So that would be really cool if you or anyone you know fills that out. And then Winterfest, which is separate from the event that happened 2 years ago, if any of you were here. Different event, but same name because I thought it would be funny. So we will be having Winterfest. So we'll be in the rec courts from 7 to 10-ish p.m. There'll be a bunch of different inflatables going on, like obstacle courses, things like that. There will be cotton candy there, a bunch of other things like that. So come out to that Friday night from 7 to 10, rec courts. And then the last thing we have is our roving magician, which is something we're trying out, like a new format. So he will be doing about 20-minute sets, starting in QA, then going to Caroline, then George, then the pub. So basically going to be the same set, just 4 times. So if you're on North Campus and you want to come, you can just come to the pub. It'll start at 9. So it'll start in QA around 9, and then at 9:30-ish, it'll be, I think, Caroline's first, and then at 10 will be George, and then at 10:30 we'll be at the pub. So that's something new that we're trying to kind of make it easier, and you don't have to really leave your house or dorm.
What might not be going to
But yeah, that is all that we're having this week. If you need me to repeat the times and locations for any of these, feel free to let me know. Yeah,
What time's the winter craft bar?
4 to 6 in Upper Montauk. There's also the little board right across from the package center, has that poster on it, as well as flyers for all of the events. That will have the times and locations. Also, if you follow us on Instagram, that will have all of that. That's just SMCMPB. Very easy.
What time did you say the magician's coming to the pub?
Around 10:30.
Okay. Do you anticipate any issues because it is a Saturday night in LP on our campus?
I don't think so. I think this, like, we're specifically having this late at night as not necessarily like alternative planning, but like as something else to do for a little bit. I don't foresee anyone being like disruptive about it. I mean, I'm sure people are gonna
I know also like
for
the
different
turnout,
reasons.
like.
Yeah. I mean, just don't be like rowdy or anything. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry, I said we're not trying.
Okay, cool. Student Director of SGA Publicity Jones.
Nothing to report.
Student Trustee Hubler.
Oh, was I supposed to introduce myself?
I don't know. Yes, I kind of said
Go
last
ahead.
time, but-
Just I'm Cecilia. I'm the Director of Publicity, and basically my job is to let everybody know what's going on in SGA. So I live stream, I run the social media, and I do publicity committee, and we're just trying to increase our presence on campus.
Hey everyone, I'm Justin Timber, I'm your student trustee. I'll be quick. Student trustee applications are going live soon. My resourceful partner and student trustee training, Jasmine Long, is going to be giving us updates on that. The board of trustees meeting is February 1st and 2nd. It's coming up ever so quickly. It's going to be exciting. I've also been working with Alec, or Senator Bernstein, and President Masick about student issues and student leader involvement, student leader roles. Basically, you all have the privilege of serving your student body as the elected representatives of the student body, and you guys should keep in contact with them and figuring things out. And because of that, you can bring issues to the administration like that. And if you ever need some good old muscle power, you have the effective version of a union boss sitting right in front of you. It's Andrew Messick, our lovely president, and he has the power from the president to meet with Dean Brown and other administrators to make sure things get done. And particularly when that doesn't happen, I'll be giving, if so needed, advice along the way, help, volunteering, and be willing to help in whatever way you guys want me to help. But especially at that point, if we've exhausted those proper routes of administration, that's something that we take to the board of trustees. So it's coming up very swiftly. This is the second meeting of the year. It's going to be one last one, which is going to happen usually around the first week of May or so. So yeah, it's going to be great. My student trustee report will be finished soon. I'm going to be submitting it in a couple of days probably. And it's going to cover all of our initiatives that we're doing because these are, in a way, having to do with how students are affecting school policy. These initiatives that we're doing that are increasing student involvement, student participation with the administration, and how we're clarifying and making sure that these channels are in fact working. As always, Jasmine and I are always happy to help, and she has a camera.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Jasmine Long, student board trustee training. So I'm in charge of doing the election process or selection process for the person that will be taking my place next year as student board trustee in training. So I hope to have the application go live on Friday, and I will be selecting of people who will be sitting, on the open forum, asking questions and kind of making a decision for the people that are selected, to go on to the final stage of the process of doing an interview with, a couple board trustee members. So I should have that group selected by February 6th, so I'll be contacting some people and hoping to finalize their by February 6th. The application should, close on February 13th, and then the open forum will be on February 21st. So hopefully as many of you would like to come, would come, so we can have a lot of people to voice concerns, questions, make up that, so we can really choose a great student trustee for next year, or student trustee training for next year. That's about it. I will hopefully be trying to reach out to you guys to kind of help me spread the word, so we can get a large applicant pool, so we can get the best possible person to go to solution action. Thank you.
This application is open to first years and sophomores
Yes.
because it is a 2-year commitment and you must be a full-time student. Your first year is to be a trustee in training, your second year is to be a student trustee. So try to get as many people as possible to apply, especially people who you think are especially qualified. Usually the people that are qualified are the ones that think that it's too big of a deal or privilege for them. Because usually people that are qualified to do a job are the ones that think they're not worthy to do it. Well, we have to take advice about it as well.
Also, second note, I'll be working the rest of the week to come up with like an advertisement type plan and kind of come up with some like tangibles so that we can start, hopefully, after you guys help kind of push those out. So I really am really hoping for a large applicant position.
Where can you find the application when it does go live?
So the application will be coming out on Friday. It will be posted on inside SMTM. I might be able to also hopefully get senators all copies, and then they can be submitted via email. I think we're gonna have them sent to Ann Harley email. They can be submitted via email or in a paper copy to Dean Brown's office. But I feel like most people will probably do the email. But yeah, it's gonna be sent out with like a Google Doc link, and then they can make a copy of that file and then edit it and resubmit it.
Are there any other questions? All right, club coordinator training.
Hey guys, so as you heard, Rose talk about, this Friday we have involvement care come out, both SGA and Programs Board will be tabling. I'll be running the event, so you'll see me around. But come out, tell your constituents, let them know that this is an opportunity for them to join and find out more about all the clubs that are going on. It's going to be in Upper Monty, from 4 to 6. And so they can come in anytime. I'm going to try as hard as possible to make sure that it's all in the centralized areas of Upper Monty, so that way students aren't having to be shoved in back corners. I know it's really hard, but we can make it the arc this semester. Club council meetings will be starting on February 4th. If anybody has any information that they'd like to come bring to club council, I've already had Sustainability Club reach out to, or Sustainability, Office of Sustainability reach out to me and ask me to present, for them to present about the polar bear plunge. That's something else you can put in, I think that's March 1st. But I'll let you guys know more about that later. Over winter break, I consolidated a lot of forms to make sure that, so that the requirements for clubs are less, they're not having to fill out tons and tons of paperwork to get into me and then having their funds on hold because they're missing one form of paperwork. I'm working a lot harder to get that better. Also, I'm looking for next year someone else to help me out with being club coordinator. So if you know anyone who's interested, send them my way. I promise it's not a horrible job. Yeah. Yeah, the main thing is, the club fair is this, Friday, so y'all should come out. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm like really tired.
I would just like to add, I will be tabling for SGA at the involvement fair, and if any of you would like to join me, I think that'd be really cool. We'll have the nice SGA table spread and a list of senators, and if you guys just want to sit and chat with people as they come by, I think that would be a really cool opportunity, or just keep you company.
I also just wanted to say, I don't know if you guys remember, but last semester I was talking about passing that bill about having clubs, have at least one big event per semester. Hopefully next week I will have that ready. But if you guys have any input on how you would like me, anything you'd like me to put into that bill, I want to bring that up now so that way you can let me know, any caveats, any, other pieces that you think would be useful to me. I am always welcome to hear about it. And you already heard about the website, so.
Any questions? President Lennon?
What time is involvement fair?
4 to 6, yeah.
Any other questions? Treasurer Miller?
Hello, everyone. So an update from last semester regarding that student fee increase. That's going to be on permanent hold for at least a while now. I'm going to be meeting with Paul a few seconds for the next couple weeks. He's the VP of Finance. To kind of get an idea of what the board of trustees is looking at to see if like there's going to be a tuition increase in general already, and also to see like where in the budget if there's any room for more money to come this year. I'm also going to be looking at the money where we currently allocate money in our operating budget to like ensure that like it's properly being used by the departments we give it to. And the second thing I have, and this is not something you want to announce yet, but I have an opening finance board, and I'm going to open it up to the Senate first to see if anyone's interested. So if you're interested in being a member of the finance board, just send me an email or talk to me afterward. I'm gonna prioritize trying to get someone who's a freshman or sophomore, just because I need a lot of seniors right now. I want to try to get someone in their classroom involved in the like finance part of that. I'm Jake. I'm the SGA treasurer, so I handle our operating budget. I also deal with all the budgets of clubs, so I allocate money to them and ensure I think they're following like proper like financial like budgetary policy. Any questions? Yes.
Senator Bernstein?
Do you anticipate, could you let us know when you hear back from all about, you know, whether or not the direction of the board is going to get that information?
I can definitely do
I would also like to add that we are considering a number of initiatives this semester that would really benefit the campus, that will not rely upon, but would be helped greatly by a student fee increase. I'll have more information to you on those as they develop. I just wanted to add that, so it's not just a random plea for more money, but it does benefit other initiatives that are coming.
Any questions? Parliamentarian Herbert?
I just want people to introduce themselves because our rules are kind of weird and our names don't always show it, especially with parliamentarian. So what I do. So one of the most visible things you see me do is I do roll call. But I also am the chair of the Constitution Review Committee, so I'm in charge of making sure that I know the Constitution and bylaws. I have read through them more than once, 8 times reading them. And so I know a lot about the Constitution and bylaws. So when you're writing legislation, I'm a good resource if you have questions. And because I review your legislation, I also see a lot of it, so I know what to do. And like, it's weird and it's hard if you don't know what you're doing. But if you just send me an email, I can like shoot you off like a quick tips on and answer questions. I also assist Davida as chair with Parliament Pro. I help to make sure that everyone stays in order. And so if things go out of control and no one's calling anything, I can help with that.
Any questions?
Also, my committee is dwindling in numbers because of some other issues that when we started, because Phil was on it, but then had to leave for another commitment. So if you want to join, more is better. Just send me an email. Also, if you know anyone who's not on the Senate who wants to join, let them know, send me an email. It's a good way to get to know how SGA is actually run.
All right, student rep, Macy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia. I'm a senior at St. Mary's. So I'm a student representative to the Alumni Council, which means that I report to the Alumni Council on student affairs, what's happening here. We have 2 meetings a year, so the next one's actually in the summertime. So I'll be back for Alumni Weekend, we'll report. So it'll be at the end of the school year. So they're pretty condensed reports because I only see them twice, but they like to hear about what's happening on campus. And so we do have a bunch of events coming up in the spring. A few are, I won't name the exact ones, but we'll have a stadium dedication, which is funded in a large part by alumni, as well as some alumni events on campus. So I'll let you know about those. If you want to get in contact with any alumni, I can help you with that, but typically my role serves mostly the alumni as a liaison. Yeah.
Any questions? Senate leaders correspondence?
I'm a sophomore, I'm your Senate leader, you guys elected me. And if you guys need guidance on writing legislation or don't really know who to go to, I can request to help you. And also, if there's anything that they do that you don't like, you can tell me.
Did you address it?
Yeah.
Did you address it? I will also add that.
Oh, they know that.
I know, but as Senate leader, if you guys aren't attending, she's the first one to contact you. And she'll try to remind you every week about kind of, so just a reminder.
Any questions? Student rep board?
Hi, you guys. My name is Jada, and I'm the I representative, which stands for Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity. So basically, the job of the role of my position is to be a liaison between students and the SGA, making sure that students of various backgrounds, whether it be race, ethnicity, religion, the LGBTQ community, gender, just different disabilities, different groups, making sure that they feel as represented as possible in our SGA, and then being able to communicate with administration to make sure that we're all on one accord. With that, I'm also, as I mentioned before, the chair for CREAC. Like Katie's committee, my committee is down to like less than half now after I've built it up. So if anybody's interested, please let me know. Like I mentioned earlier, like it's not a tedious committee, like the responsibility isn't too burdensome. I just really want there to be as many eyes and ears around campus, making sure that people feel as included as possible and accepted, and that the St. Mary's ways and exhibit to everybody. So, I mean, that's basically like the gist of it. So, that's what I did. But I have 2 announcements. So, one, I'll be meeting with Marcus Board tomorrow. Last semester, he just started having conversations about the position being new and how he feels that like staff, faculty, administration can be a partnership and like guide me through this process. So the meeting tomorrow will basically just be like to recap last semester and go over initiatives, goals, event ideas that I have for this semester. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow. And also, I've updated my office hours, so I will now be available at Upper Monty on Wednesdays from 2:30 to 3:30. So, yeah. Thank you.
Are there any updates on the multicultural room and what it's being used for?
That's, okay, so after I meet with Marcus to talk about that, my next thing on the list is to meet with Derek again. I've like been trying to, because it's not complications, but it's just things that we need to work out with it, and like specifics as to like who will be operating the room. Like my office hours are eventually moved to there, but just resources that we want available, like design schemes, all that sort of thing. So like after this meeting with Marcus, my next thing will be to reach out to students to figure out what it is that they want to see in the room, and then have a meeting with Derek to like finalize everything. So
Any questions? Class officers, anything? Our President Hernandez.
Hello, everyone. I am the senior class president. I have a couple announcements about it. So my first one is in the additional information folder. There is a lift-off, program that's being offered the end of January, which is Friday, January 25th and 26th. This is a leadership program meant for first year and, second year students here at the college that are potential leaders, aka you guys, someone of you guys. So please attach it to your flyer, everyone is welcome. My second announcement is the career fair is Wednesday, February 6th, from 2 to 6. This is business professional, business casual, as close as you can get to that. And that is where you can find internships, because you guys are all student leaders, so I kind of like to give you a heads up on that. Another thing, this is more of a senior announcement. 100 Days is next Thursday, January 24th. I'm so sorry to break it to you guys, but it is. So please keep that in mind and leading up to it, to not celebrate, but to celebrate. I will be in the great room every lunch and dinner, yes, for 1 hour selling senior glasses. Pints are $5, stemless wine glasses are $10, and for both they're $12. I'm only there an hour. I'm sorry I cannot dedicate more time to you. So if you don't see me, please feel free to reach out to me. I want to give you your senior card. I want you to buy this cups. And then my email is elhernandez. Oh, and also if you're part of my committee or want to finalize, I contacted a few people in California and I'm ready to finalize who I need you to help. And you can either reach me out personally or through my committee and send me.
Questions?
Where's the career fair?
Oh. It's definitely in the art.
It was in the arena last year.
Yeah, I think it's in the arena.
And as far as like the hours you're selling and the classes, are there any, well, you already said this, but I was wondering if the rest of the senior class officers could, we can talk about it later, but I was wondering if they are, aren't able to also help with that?
I'm not getting a response on forms of this. Oh, and we're also will be selling the glasses at the door during 100 days. Not the whole time, but until like 10.
Could you come see me after the meeting?
Yeah.
What are the prices?
The prices is $5 for pint glasses, $10 for the stemless wine glass, and $12 for both. Cash only, I'm sorry. There are ATMs available, oh. And the library. And the doors.
Any other questions? Are there any senators? Any reports? Senator Senator.
First to stand.
Yes, clarify, you stand, then get called on, then everyone else is back down. It's a lot of.
Let's go to Brooks.
All right, 3 things, I'll be quick. First, if you're on policy review committee, I know some of you guys text, but we have some business we have to take care of. We'll be meeting at 8 o'clock in study room 216. I booked it. Please show up. We'll talk about that more later. If you're on the tailgate committee, I know I talked about that at the last meeting. That's an initiative we're trying to do this semester in order to boost morale on campus. I know I said we were going to be meeting after the meeting here. I know it's late, so we'll try and make it very quick. We'll talk about it there. But if any of you guys have any suggestions, want provide any input, email me. Raise your hand if you're on my committee for tailgate. Contact one of us too. Lastly, President Messick, you brought up about cameras, meaning public safety. I know that there are a few of our constituents that, not necessarily that they're opposed to cameras, they didn't want them, but they just have some general concerns. Like, are the cameras recording sound? Is someone standing at a monitor all day, like watching your every move? So I think if we can, I think it would be beneficial to have public safety come and just give a quick briefing on the cameras, like what they're looking for, how they will be used, and what the future plans are for implementation. That's it.
Okay, President Andrew talked about this at the beginning of his report. Andrew and I talked to Dean Brown over the winter break about certain student life concerns last semester. I brought up live music policy and amending it to student bands and play on the weekends and greens. To that end, I talked to Dean Brown about it, he seemed receptive, and I've written up a policy with the help of Andrew and student trustee who I might add has been a great help, and we've had a very productive dialogue. Him and I had it's very long good terms. I'm very excited to work with him. Certain things. Right now, I sent that proposal to several interested bodies, and upon their review and support, it will be submitted ideally by the end of the week. Dean Brown or Trustee Hoover, I don't know necessarily when I contact that, but the goal is to have that approved by the dean and then eventually in the upcoming February student board trustee meeting, this amended proposal will be adopted by the board and will become a student policy. Certain specifics of it, let's see. The student life committee would kind of be in charge of, again, this isn't necessarily set in stone just yet, but in general, I anticipate seeing student life committee take charge in this, and at least being the point of contact for bands to get time slots. I will, assuming we get this passed, which I fully anticipate we will, I will be making motions to buy certain equipment and certain things, such as a tent and a stage, certain infrastructure to help be conducive to bands, right? And other SGA activities. The period in which bands will be playing would probably be between in the fall semester, from the beginning of the fall semester to Thanksgiving break, and then from in the spring would be from March until the end of spring break when we come back until the beginning of volunteer periods. Any questions you can ask?
Sorry, I have two quick things. First, Dean Brown has an Instagram and Facebook page. They're both SMCMDOS. Please include it in your constituent emails if possible. He's trying to, I guess, reach all students. He's doing this by doing shout outs and contests. So make sure you follow his pages. Also, the QA residents have a few residents have talked to me about the water fountains in all the dorm buildings. We're requesting to have one of those automatic where you put your water level and it immediately flows, because currently there's only one in the QA dorm, at least there's only one on the second floor, and the rest of the floors have unfiltered water fountains, I guess. I don't know if this is our issue, but it's probably
World Carnival is coming back to St. Mary's April 19th and 20th, and we have 3 social media pages that users for all of them are at SMCM 2019 WC, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and then we have a Facebook page. If you could put this in your constituent emails, I would really appreciate it, because we already have a poll up on Twitter. And right now we only have 20 followers. And I'd like to get that number up because I want more responses on the poll, because we have a planathon coming up. And I want to use those responses for the planathon. So please include that in your emails. Where's the at name? Oh, it's at SMCM 2019 WC.
Hi. I just have some ideas. I kind of want to talk about you guys. In case this is the right time for it. They're imperfect and they're not like anywhere near finished, but I would like your feedback just because I think keep it all together. They're really just revolved around like student engagement and trying to encourage and figure out ways to make ourselves more accessible and more approachable. And so I was thinking a couple things. One of them was I was thinking about student speak outs and how there's such a great opportunity for students to come forward about whatever issues might be happening on campus. And I thought it might be helpful to kind of like centralize student speak outs in a way, like to maybe pick a certain thing for a certain day, like not like say that a student can't come speak about other things on that day, but maybe encourage like students coming to talk about Title IX or the Wellness Center, whatever that may be. So maybe it's a little more like we're inviting you to come speak about this instead of just come to us and kind of maybe like taking more of the initiative in that sense. Sorry. I was thinking about Senator feedback and like SGA feedback. I saw you were doing that. I don't think do anything, but like getting people's opinions. Like how am I doing as your senator? Am I doing well? Like how can I be better? What do you want to see from me? Already a thing. It's not okay. So that was an idea. Improves communication. I'm not entirely sure the best way to go about that. I'm sure social media, like your social media projects and like increasing presence in that sense would be super helpful. But maybe finding like an even better platform or just a way to like maybe increase the amount of people we reach and the way that we reach them to be more effective. And I think, yeah, there you go. That's it. So that's just something for you guys to chew on and like sleep on. Yeah, maybe we can take some of it.
Any questions before you?
May I suggest that we follow up on that idea? I think maybe the town has to take the lead on that because we're kind of doing that right now. And then we can make a universal standard set that the rest of everybody else can do. So we have the same survey going out, as opposed to different surveys with different wording. I think that's an excellent idea.
I'd also like to add, in the vein of the theme, come and talk to us about Title IX issues and that kind of thing. I'd like to change the way, partly how we do guest speakers, which is just traditionally been they contact us and say, hey, I want to come speak, and they come and they present something. To not just that, but also us finding the biggest issue or the one thing we want to hear the most about and asking them to come, letting them know, letting students know in advance, so that way we can have questions prepared and say, look, here are issues that we're not addressing, or look, these are things you've done great. And so in that same vein, was the meetings. That's something I'm trying to change as far as guest speakers.
Alright, I know we won't leave, but I had,
I'm sorry, you have to stay.
oh, yeah. So WC still has a lot of ice on the path, and like, I've had friends who have like cheese. Yeah, so that's not good. Another thing, I know this is kind of out of control, but several people come up to me. It's really aggravating how like obviously there is a lot of snow, obviously schools are canceled, and the fact that like the administration waited till 5 a.m. like that day, and like I personally had a friend who tried to drive in the snowy conditions and like spun out and almost hit the rail, and like, you know, that's dangerous. So I know it's like out of our control, but like we could try to like figure out like, hey, don't wait till 5. Yeah, it's just like, it's really upsetting, and it's like, I mean, these are like really dangerous conditions, it's not fair to our student body. And my final thing, with regards to tailgating, and with respect to the rules, so, I'm hesitant to call our thing a committee with respect to the refreshing on the rules. So is there another way we should like go about consolidating committees, like should we go about with another committee that already, you know what I'm trying to say?
These impromptu committees that might spring up, they call them what you like, but they're not official, they're not designed to be.
So like, is there another like with respect to?
There's, it's an ad hoc.
I don't, yeah, we should just call it the working group.
Yeah, call it an ad hoc exploratory.
Okay, yeah.
It will be permanent, I'm sorry, it will be temporary and will, work within the confines of what the SGA can do, but when it's done, it'll go away.
Yeah.
Also, point of information about something Senator talked about earlier, College Park got less snow than we did, and they canceled on Sunday.
I will address these concerns to, I think it's Dr. Jordan who makes the call with Paul Presetter. I will address those concerns as soon as I can through the proper channels. I had actually went to ask the computer senators if they had heard any feedback regarding that. I think that was pretty much what I was gonna hear. Did you get any feedback or did you have yourself concerns regarding like the timing of the email and that?
Respectfully, the college timing always has to be good. If Dr. Jordan would follow through at least what CSM does, usually with their timing, it's a lot more respectful to people who have to travel. Also, St. Mary's County Public Schools, they also pretty have the idea of like one road are gonna be good, one road are gonna be bad. This time when it snowed, the main roads at least were actually pretty clear because it was just like slushy, weird. It wasn't like really like snow or ice. It wasn't until like the days passed and really like the campus, I would say just walking around is where the actual roads down there. So, commuters are always upset with the conditions, the parking here is horrible. And behind Margaret Run, they did like just enough so that like the main road, the main like path where people turn to leave is paved, but they didn't even try to end the parking.
I will address those concerns.
To add to what she was saying, it wasn't even just that the parking spaces weren't shoveled out, it was like every single road was shoveled out except for where the sign for where commuters park. That was literally the only road that was not shoveled out. So, yeah. Because I like drove and parked over there today just because of it, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah. That was like literally the only road.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to add? Any other senators wishing to report? Are there any last minute announcements, President Messi?
I have a couple last things. Sorry, I'm almost done, I promise. I will make sure the HVAC issue in here is addressed for next week because it's really cold. I'm freezing, I'm sorry. We were supposed to have it requested, but apparently not. I would like feedback from you all on the seating arrangement we're trying out. The idea is to have a closer kind of discussion instead of being as spread out as we were, as well as opening it up for guests to come and sit. But I still want your feedback. Is there something you want to try differently? We can rearrange things a little bit. I invite your feedback afterwards. And I'd also like to speak with Senators Malago, Wilson, Carrillo, Norton, and President Hernandez after. That's all I have.
Feedback?
Let's do feedback afterwards.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Wow.